Okay. I didn't expect that. This is really unexpected. A huge thanks to my Patreon supporters for making this episode possible. Good morning, fellow mathematicians! Welcome back to another video. Quite a weird setup, right? I'm in my car right now. This is because I'm going to go and take a Mensa IQ test now, and we are going to see how that goes. Huh? Oh! So, I'm now officially done with the IQ test. Took us approximately 2 hours. I really couldn't film anything just because it's kind of a secret what like the questions for Mensa are, etc. But I'm going to tell you a few things about it once I arrive home. Now that I'm back at home, I can finally give you my fresh impressions about the Mensa IQ test, the real one, not a preparation test you find online. If there's demand for it, I can solve it with you in some way or make a dedicated video on it, on the test you need to solve before being able to do the actual Mensa IQ test. But other than that, here are my fresh impressions. I'm going to receive my score in like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm going to make the next part of this video that I'm going to edit into this video right here, obviously, and then I can tell you what my IQ is and all the other information about the IQ system here in Germany, etc. What we had to do was solve 7, so successor of 6, 7 categories of questions with 12 questions each. And they consisted of very different kinds of skills that you would need to have in order to be a gifted person in some way. So we had this category about words, basically. Grouping words together with some common titles. So basically we had like 5 words given. They were like guitar, piano, pianist, and so on, and then you would need to find 2 words that you could group together with some common title. For example, guitar and the piano were, for example, instruments. This is something that you had to find out, and they were all pretty similar, and it was kind of hard to deal with this. So the maths questions were a bit more what I liked at this test. Other than that, you had to fill in the blanks on certain sentences. So 12 sentences, you had to fill in the blank with the most logical word out of like 5 to 7 options. I can't remember this right now. Then there was one big maths exercise that we had to solve. So one big maths category. It was one with geometry where you had to flip cubes in your head with symbols on it, and then you had to fill in the blank basically which one would come. So if we had some kind of this thing and we would rotate it, for example, to like this side, what would it look like? This was the exercise. You probably know what I mean. Maybe there's a sketch somewhere here. And after that, we could finally solve the questions regarding what we had to remember. So we had to remember something in 7 minutes. Then we had a math exercise in between, and then we could only get to the questions. And most people there were pretty devastated, as I could see. So nearly everyone got nothing, so they were kind of, it was kind of hard for them. I was pretty good at that, I suppose. I'm not sure about the overall performance of myself there, but yeah, this was it. I have a good feeling about this exercise at least. I'm pretty good at remembering. Other than that, maths exercises, we had sequences of integers, like subtract 2 divided by 2, subtract 2 divided by 2, and so on, like 12 sequences of this kind. Then we had other calculation questions, percentage calculations, and other logical thinking arithmetic exercises that we had to solve. Other than that, some other word exercise were there. Sadly, I can't really show you what it looked like, just because it's kind of a secret company thing. They keep this test secret such that you can prepare for it. I, for myself, can't even find a PDF file online with the questions on there. So you just have to take me by my word here. Other than that, most exercises came at like 3 minutes for those 12 questions in this question category. And that was basically it. Those were my fresh impressions. I have no idea what I'm going to get for some kind of score. I don't know. I consider myself just a mediocre human being, like 110 IQ, I don't know, but more information on that after I receive my actual test, and I'm seeing you in like 2 or 3 weeks, I suppose. The IQ test is finally here after 1.5 weeks. I haven't really opened it yet, so I mean I have opened it already just to basically censor my address here, but we are going to open it up in a few minutes. Just a little bit of information about my background a tiny little bit and also what the IQ test really measures. So back in the days when I was younger, I had severe headaches all the time. Like each and every day was just from starting the day up until going to bed, headaches all the time. My mom went with me everywhere. So to the doctors, we went to see doctors nearly every week to check if I have cancer maybe, if something's wrong with me. I had constant nosebleeds all the time. My nose was bleeding all the damn time, like 10 to 15 times per day, and not only like one drop of blood, I was just bleeding all the time out of my nose, and all the headaches, and yeah, this is probably why I have those huge bags under my eyes. I'm getting enough sleep, by the way. Yeah, and we went to a lot of doctors, and my mom back then also did an IQ test with me, and back then I scored an IQ of 128. So I wasn't gifted in any way, and I do suppose that this IQ test right here is worse than what I scored back then. I do consider myself completely average. I don't think that I am any smart in any way. I'm just an average person in my opinion, and I think I'm going to score 125 max. I don't think that it's going to be any higher than that. We are going to see about this in a second. But yeah, this is a bit of backstory. I still have headaches all the time. So up until this day, I'm having headaches all the time. Nearly every second day I'm having headaches. I try to don't take any painkillers or whatsoever. It's just my head is just exploding nearly every second day, and it's kind of annoying. I can't get rid of those headaches. It's just really annoying. So this is probably why you see me sometimes so really tired with the bags under my eyes, etc. The nose bleeding stopped. The nose bleeding stopped for some reason, but other than that, headaches are there all the time. And yeah, this is a little bit of backstory, and now for the IQ test in general. So the Mensa IQ test is basically measuring your IQ under the assumption that it's distributed like a Gaussian bell curve. Right in the middle you are going to have the German, in my case German or USA average, being at 100 IQ points, and then it just goes downwards from back there. I believe you are gifted if you scored 130 IQ points or higher, and I think you have a very high gifted IQ if you have like 145 or higher. And you are below average if you have less than 100. So like most people are, I think, like 68% or something on the range of like 80 to 120 IQ points. So as for this test right here, the Mensa IQ test can measure IQs between 115 and 145 basically. If for some reason you have an IQ of 145 here on this paper, then there's a high chance that you are actually more gifted than that, because it can't measure any higher, and it could possibly be that the IQ is way higher than 145, for example 160. This is something that the Mensa IQ test cannot measure with its procedure, just as a little side note here. And yeah, we are going to open it up now. I'm not really one to break with my IQ or anything, it's just for the clickbait basically, and I wanted to know how I kind of advanced over the years. My last IQ test was with 14, I think, or 13 years of age, and now I'm 26 years old, and here we go. We are going to open it up. Like I said, I'm going to think that I'm in the 120 range, 120 to 125. We are going to see about this. Okay. This is unexpected. This is I didn't expect that. This is really unexpected. Yes, I don't even know what to say. I did not think that this was possible for me. I mean, it's just a number, but my IQ is being measured as being 145. And
with a standard deviation of 15 IQ points on the Gaussian bell curve. Here we have that I'm still with the standard deviation being in the difference, I'm still in the gifted range. Actually, starting at 145, like I said before, you are highly gifted, so like genius rank or something. This is so weird. I did not think that I could score something like this. Also, there's a percentage rank, it's 100. Does this mean that I got 100% right? Let me see for a second. Okay, so it's like a rank for some kind of a reference group, and this just means that, so the probability that I have scored better than most or nearly all people in my reference group is like 100%. So it seems like I still scored better than nearly everyone in my reference group. I don't know what it's being measured by age or something. And also it says here that I'm going to get an invitation to actually join Mensa as the group of like high IQ people. But I don't care about that. I'm not going to join those people. I don't care about this number. It really doesn't say anything about me. Like I said, even though we have this number here on paper, I don't think that I have this high of an IQ. I consider myself to be an absolute retard, and this for myself really doesn't measure what I think I have an IQ. I have as an IQ. So this is quite weird. I still don't know what to say because this number is pretty high. I was expecting to score less. I'm kind of out of words here, short on words. Yeah, this is basically my IQ, and I hope you did enjoy this video. I'm going to keep this somewhere, and yeah, you can leave some comments down there below if you have ever done like a Mensa IQ test or something before, or what you think of those IQ tests. Yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching. Check out the new merch, 2 is the oddest of all primes. Great joke. It looks kind of okay, I think. It looks pretty good in my opinion. And yeah, other than that, check out Flammy too, and up until the next video, I wish you guys a flammy day. Ciao!